Hi everyone, welcome to the Moving to Australia podcast. Today we are unpacking a topic that's changed the way professionals think about work and travel, the digital nomad visa. More and more countries like Portugal, Greece, Costa Rica are inviting remote workers to live and work legally beyond their home borders. Australia doesn't have a visa specifically designed for digital nomads. So the question is, can digital nomads call Australia home, even temporarily? And what pathways exist if you're dreaming of living and working here? Whether you're a freelancer, tech professional, or someone simply dreaming of a location independent lifestyle, this episode for you. And joining me in the studio to unpack all of that is the director of Devika Migration Services, Amitava Dev. Morning, Amitava. How you been?
Good morning, Arun. I've been well. How about you?
I'm doing well, Amitava. Thank you.
Is it cold? It's very cold, isn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty
Asking
cold.
about the weather, I'm really cold. In Sydney, it's 15 degrees.
Same here.
So I need to go to a remote place and work.
We are all working remotely, aren't we? So, Australia's migration framework does not have a specific digital nomad visa. So, if someone is touring Australia and wants to work here remotely, how can they go about doing that legally?
Right. Australia does not currently offer a dedicated digital nomad visa. Yeah, this was a term probably coined in the last 10 years, right? However, remote workers can legally stay and work under certain visa categories, and some of these are quite easy to obtain. The first one is visitor visa. Visitor visa subclass 600. It allows stay up to 12 months, while primary for tourism, remote work for an overseas employer is generally permissible if you do not get paid in Australia, because then it will be considered as Australian work. The next one is e-visitor visa, subclass 651, and electronic travel authority, subclass 601. These are visas granted to some of the special European countries and a few of those Southeast Asian countries and US, UK, yeah, and Canada. So here, again, the permission is to stay up to 3 months. It is suitable for short-term remote work for foreign companies. And then there is working holiday visas 417 and 462. It's for individuals aged 18 to 30 or sometimes 35, allowing work and travel in Australia for up to 12 months for certain designated countries. It is important to note that these visas generally permit remote work for non-Australian companies. Engaging in work for an Australian employer will violate the visa condition. It'll be a breach and you might be deported.
So, coming to that, my next question was, what tax implications do remote workers need to be aware of while traveling in Australia?
So tax obligations depend on residency status. If you reside in Australia for more than 183 days in a fiscal year, you are typically considered a tax resident and must declare worldwide income. Temporary residents may be exempt from, so digital nomads are temporary residents. So they may be exempt from Australian tax on foreign income. But here, I think it is important to get advice from a professional accountant. And if it is a freelancer or a contractor, if they're working in Australia, they must obtain an Australian business number and may need to register for GST if annual turnover exceeds 75,000. Now, here we are going into a territory of workers in Australia. So, remote workers, I do not necessarily mean digital nomads. Remote workers in Australia, they have to be very, very careful on their taxation obligations. So Australia has double taxation arrangements with many countries, to prevent dual taxation. Consulting a tax professional is very, very important. If you need assistance in any taxation arrangement, I have in my team excellent accountants who can advise you on this matter.
So, what can remote workers do if they want to migrate to Australia? I know you touched upon a few of the visas available, but how would they go about doing that?
So it is the process is not going to be any different to anyone who is not a uh, digital nomad. So anyone, regardless of where they are, they have migration options, and it'll be the same migration options. What are the migration options? A skilled independent visa or general skilled migration. It could be subclass 189, 190, 491. Employer sponsored subclass 482, which is also known as skills in demand visa, introduced in December 2025, targeting professionals in high demand sectors, and also subclass 186, employer nominated PR, provided the occupation is in a high demand sector and that is specialized in CS oil. Eligibility depends on several factors like age, qualifications, work experience, and English proficiency.
But can they go about these migration pathways while they are in Australia, or would they have to leave the country and then start working on their application?
As I mentioned, migration can be pursued anywhere. Now, if they are in Australia and they are a digital nomad, then they will not be considered um, onshore applicants. That is the only difference. They'll still be considered offshore applicants because they are working for an offshore entity. It could be a different company, it could be their own company, but they are a digital nomad from a foreign country.
Now, you're a registered migration agent and you've been dealing with migration for over 2 decades now. So,
Mhm.
in your opinion, why hasn't Australia introduced a digital nomad visa yet to meet modern workforce trends?
That is not a question for me to answer. It's a government policy. However, policies change all the time, and if there is a need for such a visa, if the government feels that it is important to have a digital nomad visa, it will introduce, of course, if it helps the economy. When we introduce certain visas, the important consideration is, does it really help Australian economy? Is it important for the growth? Skilled Australia has a lot of migration options. So introducing a visa which is ambiguous might lead to a lot of misuse. So it has to be carefully drafted. And I'm sure it's in the works, but we have to wait and see.
We have an election coming up in a couple of days. Do you think that some
Mhm.
advocates for a digital nomad visa would bring this to the discussion table soon?
Well, I do not want to speculate. I don't believe it is a focus area right now. There are more burning issues than worrying about a digital nomad visa in Australia.
Okay, to recap, what are the key considerations for aspiring nomads eyeing Australia as their future home?
Number one, visa selection. Choose a visa that aligns with your intended activities and duration of stay. Number two, tax compliance. Understand the tax obligations as we discussed. Seek professional advice. Number three, legal work parameters. Ensure your remote work complies with visa conditions, especially the employer's location, which can be you yourself if you're self-employed or the employer in the foreign country. Stay informed. Monitor policy changes, especially in the context of evolving work arrangements and potential new visa categories.
So that wraps up today's podcast, folks. While we don't yet have a formal visa stream tailored for remote workers, the world is shifting fast and Australia's migration system may well follow. If you're a remote professional dreaming of living in Australia, it's essential to understand the legal landscape, like Amitabh has said, and explore the right pathways. Just make sure you do your research, plan ahead, and know the legal implications. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe and share it with your network and leave a review. Thank you for tuning in and see you next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.